She called the cops on me for parking on my own driveway. Yeah, you heard me right. 6:47 a.m. Two patrol cars, lights flashing, my muddy F-250 sitting on my concrete pad, fully on my property, and there's Connie Riddell, arms crossed, chin up, wearing that smug little smirk, like she's already declared victory. The officer steps out, and before he even says a word, Connie points at me and says, "I pay your salary. Arrest him." That's when I realized this wasn't about some truck blocking her view or property values or even community standards. Nah, this was about power, pure and simple. Small-town tyranny dressed up in a pantsuit and a clipboard. But Connie made one hell of a miscalculation. See, what she didn't know is I'm a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army, 23 years and counting, and I've spent my career dismantling threats a whole lot nastier than a bored HOA vice president. And you know what? I don't back down easy. So what would you have done? Honestly, drop your story in the comments because I read every single one. And let me know where you're watching from. I want to see who else is fighting these petty tyrants out there. Let me back up a sec. Names Vance Hartwick. Army intelligence, now in the reserves, 1 weekend a month just to keep sharp. After 2 decades of living in barracks, bouncing base to base, sleeping in places where the only alarm clock was a mortar shell, I finally got myself some real land. 4 acres, Pinewood Estates, Colorado. Trees quiet, a little pond out back. My wife, Marina, ICU nurse, tough as half the soldiers I've ever led, was all in. Our son just started at West Point, daughter's off at CU Boulder for engineering. This was supposed to be our slow chapter, no more moving, no more waking up in the desert, just peace. Every morning I'd pour a cup of black coffee, step out onto the porch, just listen. Frost crunching under my boots, that smell of pine needles and cold diesel. The kind of air that tastes clean, not like sand or burning oil. For about 8 weeks, it really was perfect. Pinewood's got 47 homes, a voluntary HOA, no real teeth, just some folks who like block parties and arguing about mailbox colors. And then there's Connie Riddell. Vice president, married to Garrett real estate lawyer, never home, no kids, living in the biggest house on the corner, the one with the lawn so green you can smell the fertilizer 3 blocks away. She's the type who patrols in heels that click on the asphalt like a countdown. Click, click, click. Always talking about property values and community standards, but if you listen close, it's all code. She's made plenty of comments about the Hispanic family a few doors down, called the veterans work van clutter, that kind of neighbor. 2 weeks after we moved in, Connie showed up with a welcome packet, all highlighted vehicles over 6,000 pounds, got to be garaged or hidden behind the fence. My truck, 6400. She was still smiling as I flipped the page, said, "Just a courtesy reminder, we like to keep things tidy." I nodded and shut the door. Marina watched the whole thing from the kitchen and just said, "That woman's going to be a problem." She wasn't wrong. 12 weeks in, I roll home from weekend drill, covered in mud. Zero sleep truck looks like it survived an artillery range, and I park on my driveway on my property, figuring I'll wash it after coffee. Next morning, 7 a.m., Connie's pounding on my door. That truck needs to be moved immediately, she snaps, pointing like it's a dead animal. It's an eyesore. I keep it civil. "It's my driveway, ma'am. I'll wash it this afternoon." Her face goes red. She spits out, "We'll see about that," and storms off heels, double timing down the sidewalk. Marina's voice floats in. "Told you." Monday morning, sun barely up. 2 sheriff's cars crawl to a stop. Connie on the sidewalk, aiming at my truck like she's calling in an airstrike. The officers step out, young, sharp, polite one of them. Kraus glances at my Army decal, looks at me in my PT shirt, and I see his shoulders relax. "Morning, sir. We got a call about a vehicle blocking access." He looks at my truck, looks at the wide open street, looks at Connie, and you can see he's already over it. "On my own driveway," I say, trying not to laugh. He sighs, checks the line, calls over, "Ma'am, the vehicle's entirely on private property. No violation here." Connie, voice sharp as a whip, demands a report. Kraus hands me an incident card, nods, and the two of them roll out, probably cursing the HOA the whole way back to the station. That's when I felt it prickling on the back of my neck, the old mission adrenaline right before the intel gets complicated. And oh boy, was it about to. That night, Dale Peaton, the HOA president, old insurance guy, apologizes for winning at poker, CCs the whole street on an email courtesy reminder about vehicle placement. Marina, reading over my shoulder, just sighs. She's building a paper trail, I reply. All drop my property survey, attach the plat map, cite the county record, shut it down, at least, I hope. Next morning, orange traffic cone right at the edge of my drive, not mine. Security cam shows Garrett Connie's husband pulling up in his Lexus at 11 p.m., hops out, drops. The cone drives off. I pick up the cone, drop it on Connie's perfect porch with a note. Believe you dropped this. V. Marina shakes her head. You're poking the bear. Bear poked first, I say. That afternoon, county code enforcement shows up. Raoul, mid-40s, seen every dumb neighbor fight. Mr. Hartwick got a complaint about unpermitted grading. Nope. He checks, shrugs, says it's the 5th bogus call this month. Somebody's got too much time on their hands. We stand on the porch and he lets me in on a secret request. Your own property inspection from the county for $15, get a record of every complaint ever filed. Guys have used it to prove harassment patterns. $15 done that afternoon. Couple days later, cars start slowing out. Front people I've never seen eyeing my house. Turns out Connie's collecting signatures for voluntary covenant enforcement, blaming falling property values on surprise my truck and the veteran's work van. She gets 11 signatures out of 47, mostly retirees who just want the conversation to end. And then the anonymous letter. Military types think they're above the rules. Sell and move to base housing where you belong. No stamp, no return address. But the paper smells like that fancy lavender lotion Connie uses. Marina called it funeral home chic at a block party. I file it in my growing folder right next to the cone photo and the code complaint. Next week, Marina gets a parking ticket at the hospital. Bogus gets it tossed. 3 days after that, her hospital gets an anonymous call reporting an ICU nurse showing up drunk. They know her shift, her unit, the color of her car. Marina's cleared, but the humiliation wrecks her. She tried to get me fired, Marina says, tears in her eyes, and that's the last straw. I call Lynette a JAG friend. She listens, then says, if Connie's making false reports to your wife's employer, that's tortious interference you could sue her into next Tuesday. But start with a harassment report. Document everything. I file with Deputy Kraus. He's serious this time, says they'll flag it in the system. Lynette adds, HOAs registered as nonprofits have to make their financials public. Sometimes they're funneling money to themselves, could be leverage. $50 2 weeks, and I've got the records. Connie's been billing $8, $400 in admin expenses, Juan $200 to Garrett's firm for covenant review. Marina, with her ICU budget eyes, circles entries in red self-dealing plain as day. Colorado law says board members can't profit without disclosure and a vote. There's no record of either. Next day, Marcus Mailman lives 4 houses down, catches me at the mailbox. She's run off 3 families in 9 years, always finds a reason. But never the white folks. She even called animal control on the Hispanic family's beagle. I'm tired, Vance. If you're pushing back, count me in. I shake his hand, and walking back I hear Connie's voice through her window, sharp, angry, calling me that military troublemaker. I smile. She's scared. Late at night, I dig through public records, tax liens, court docs, find $47,000 in unpaid property taxes on Connie's place, foreclosure paused for hardship. Garrett's firm paid out $230,000 in a malpractice settlement. The whole puzzle snaps into focus. She's fighting for control because her own life's falling apart. I don't use it directly. Not yet. I just start living out loud, truck in the driveway, flagpole out front, everything perfectly legal. Connie's pacing, gesturing wildly on her phone. Marina says, "You're poking the bear." I'm giving her rope, I reply. Desperate people double down. 2 days after the flagpole, Marcus shows up with beer brings Yolanda single mom teacher and Gil Korean war vet. Turns out Connie's gone after them too. Reported Yolanda's trampoline tried to get Gil's memorial flagpole taken down. We form a plan, file a formal complaint call for a special meeting prep, a presentation with all the receipts. We're not breaking rules, we're using them. Week before the meeting, all 4 tires on my truck get slashed. Security cam shows a hooded figure but not clear enough for charges. Kraus says, keep documenting. She escalates again, you'll have everything for a restraining order. Next, a smear campaign fake Facebook profile claims I'm aggressive, dangerous. My son at West Point calls worried. You told me fight lies with facts and patience. Are you doing that? I am son. I am. Hoey meeting day, parking lot full folks buzzing. Connie at the front color-coded packets trying to keep control. Garrett beside her looking like he wants to disappear. Kraus in the back for security. Jenna from the local paper ready to record every word. Connie launches into a speech volunteer work. Thankless job newcomers. Attacking tradition. Marcus stands up, calls her out. You've dedicated 4 years to harassing people who don't fit your idea of this neighborhood. Room goes dead quiet. I hand out dossiers, timelines, complaints, the whole paper trail. This isn't about standards, it's about abuse of power. Slides show $400 in admin costs, $1 or $200 to Garrett's law firm, no votes, no disclosure. Connie tries to cry slander, but Garrett just tells her, stop talking. I move to recall the board new elections. A woman I've never met seconds the motion. 38 hands go up. Connie and Garrett leave the door, slamming behind them like the gavel dropping in a courtroom. New board. Marcus is president, Yolanda treasurer, Gil secretary. Audit confirms everything. Improper payments. Fraud referrals. Connie and Garrett list their house sell at a loss, disappear in 60 days. The neighborhood feels different. First real barbecue, scholarship fund, families playing soccer in the field, folks actually talking on the street. 6 months later, my son graduates West Point, tells me, courage isn't loud, Dad. It's methodical. Lets the truth do the talking. And that right there makes it all worth it. So here's the thing. If you're fighting your own HOA nightmare, some board member thinking they're a dictator, drop your story below. Worst one gets featured in next week's video, because nobody should have to live in fear in their own home. And if you love seeing bullies outsmarted by folks who just refuse to give up, hit subscribe. More stories coming every Tuesday. Remember, quiet professionalism always beats loud tyranny every single time. Thanks for sticking around. Let's hear your story.